This podcast has been brought to you by the patrons at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Check out the new Patreon. They've got new tiers for new shows. They've got new goals. They've got new everything at the Patreon. That's patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Something inside her hungers for new sensation, yearns to feel new sensation. I've introduced her to new sensation she had never dreamed of.
Ain't nobody gonna tell Gambit not to tell Michael Hutchins to rest in peace, Cher. You jerk off when you want, how you want, with the angel them all.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we talk about every single episode of the X-Men animated series from the early 90s and a bunch of other X-Men stuff. And also a lot about Overwatch shipping recently, so we can kind of get into that if you need to, Gary, if you need any kind of refreshers or primers.
Have there been updates in the world of it?
I have no idea. I don't know. Well, I don't think so. It's been a while since we recorded, so there could be like 4 new lesbian characters that I don't know about.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, internet men have not been freaking out about it, so I assume not. I would know if they added new lesbians to Overwatch, because there'd be tons of screen caps of posts of people saying like, "No, but I had a crush on her." And just like, let me tell you, if you think this is the reason you can't have sex with this Overwatch character, like, we gotta zoom out.
There's so many other barriers between you and this besides her preference for women.
Yeah, let's take a step back, Goku Boner 69. Like, we gotta chill. Yeah, so unless there have been any updates, we can just kind of make it an alert. Like, if there are any updates in that world, you can text me direct.
Okay. So I need to put any Overwatch shipping notes into the actual show notes for the show, so you can kind of get prepared for it.
Yeah.
Would you say that you need to bone up on Overwatch shipping? Is what you're talking about?
I need to bone off on them. Yeah.
No, we talk about the X-Men in this podcast, and we have 2 great episodes. And there's all kinds of sex in the X-Men. I mean, Gambit alone in this episode has some of the best orgy clothes I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Like his orgy wear is really strong.
These are like the shipping episodes. This is all about, like, jealousy and romance and stuff at the beginning of this.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're tackling it.
Yeah, the Dark Phoenix Saga. We're going to do part 1 and 2 today, and then the next episode in 2 weeks will be part 3 and 4. So, yeah, why don't you tell me this crazy plot description of part 1, which is insane.
I just like in general that this is a svelte 4 episodes rather than the last one, which was 7 episodes with the prologue.
Yes, yeah. They wrap this up pretty quick. They do a lot of homages to the comics, which I think are really fun. Like, they do some like direct from the comics stuff, and then the stuff that the standards and practices obviously had them change, and the way that affects the story just makes it hilarious to me instead of bad. So I'm like, there's some stuff towards the end where it's like, why are you even okay? Sure. So
there's also 2 whole episodes that are just fights. Like, it's kind of surprising. Like, we have 2 episodes of plot, and then 1 episode that's a big fight, and a second episode that's a big fight. And it's kind of intense. Like, but I think these are actually, in general, like, really good episodes of the show. Excited to talk about. I'm excited to get into it with episode 20 here. That's our episode 20. This episode, we don't know what episode it is because the air order is all fucked up.
So we just stopped bothering with any of that stuff. Sorry, people, if we really cared about that.
Yeah, If maybe we'll go back. Maybe we won't.
Maybe we won't.
Yeah, who knows what we can do. This is the first episode of this, the Dark Phoenix Saga, Part 1, Dazzled. The Phoenix continues to inhabit Jean's body, brazenly taking over her will. When the Inner Circle Club discover the extent of Phoenix's power, they use Jason Wingard to create a new history in the mind of the confused Jean Grey. Wingard creates a fictional romance between them set in the past and leads Jean to believe that what she perceived as the present reality, or the present, actually occurred in her dreams. When the X-Men come to rescue Jean, they find that the person they came to rescue might actually be the one to cause their destruction. Pretty accurate, right? I mean,
this is okay. I mean, obviously, I guess Hellfire Club is okay for comic books, but not okay for Saturday morning TV. So they have to be the Inner Circle Club, which is kind of like saying that the ATM machine.
The ATM machine, or they're real big fans of the people who did the theme song to Cops.
Sure.
The reggae band Inner Circle.
Not to be confused with the Inner Circle fan club Emma Frost says constantly.
Yeah. I wish they had just called it something different, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, make up a name. Like it could just be like the evil mutant cabal or something, right? Or cabal.
Yeah,
right?
or just the cabal.
Yeah,
you know?
hell yeah.
There we go. Yeah, hell yeah, the cabal, man.
I can understand why you can't use the word hellfire, but like, what about like the Hades Club? Like, make it weird.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, Brimstone.
Yeah,
You
hell
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I would be I would be a member of Brimstone right now. Club Brimstone.
Yeah, Club Brimstone. Like, you just do a lot of cool stuff with this, and the Inner Circle Club just sounds silly, and it's just so they can say the Inner Circle. Weirdly enough, though, everything else about them are pretty accurate to the comics, because the Hellfire Club are fucking weird. Like, I've always liked the Hellfire Club, but like they're very strange, and the cartoon portrays them pretty accurately.
Yeah, all of the characters seem to basically come over pretty much intact from the comics. Like everyone kind of has the same powers, everyone has the same motivations. You know, I think this is a really great representation of Emma Frost. Like, she seems really cool, even though like sometimes she just shoots telekinetic bolts at people, which doesn't actually happen. But and at one point she's like fighting wind, so
yeah,
whatever. but like, okay, like there's a bunch of people that have to fight one another. At some point, the action figures have to smash together, and they just create a bunch of stuff for that. So I don't begrudge it those things. But when the characterization on these is universally good for the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, I think Leland has different powers in this.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think in the comics, he controls his density, or when he gets hurt, he transfers like energy to density. And there's a subplot where he gets like real heavy and like falls through the floor at some point.
Okay.
Here, he just kind of shoots bolts.
Oh, in this, I thought he was making other things like heavy or light or whatever.
Maybe that's what he's doing.
Because that's why we'll get to it. But that's why Wolverine falls into the sewer. Right?
Yeah. At some point, he just kind of zaps something though too. So it's.
I mean, like everybody needs a ranged move. Okay,
yeah, there's definitely zapping that goes on kind of continuously in this. But everyone else is pretty accurate to their not just the powers, but also like their personalities. Like, we don't actually get the wealth angle, which is always a big part of the Hellfire Club, but we do get this kind of arrogance. Like, they never really seem bothered that anything's going on, and they're just kind of playing dress up as this kind of these Machiavellian fops, and it really works for me. Like, they're not out for world domination, they're not out for mutant rights. They couldn't give a shit about that. It's just about this kind of power. And kind of social power, and they're all doing it in
the most ridiculous clothes, right? Like, they are doing it in the most ridiculous clothing, and it's not just them. Like the Inner Circle Club, which are you down with ICC, Gary?
Bad boys.
But like they have a whole, as we'll see, I think in the second or third episode, where there's a big fight scene, and there's a whole like club full of people that are just having dinner dressed like this, that aren't out for like world power and domination or anything. Like, they're just people that hang.
Yeah, they're like the lower members of the secret society. Can we real quick, and this is going to get porny pretty quick.
Yes.
But as a gentleman of the internet, who has been known to watch porn from time to time on his computer, on websites and the like, whenever anything strays into like mild fetish or BDSM stuff, there's a channel that is on all the porn aggregates called the Upper Floor, and I guess it is a place, like it's an actual like rented out, look like Hellfire Club ass looking place where people go and like be sex slaves, like servants, like go in and for other people's amusement. But everybody kind of dresses a little bit like the Hellfire Club. Everyone dresses kind of nice. It's got a real Hellfire Club vibe. But except that, this woman's being used as a table while she's like sucking off some dong, like it's like Hellfire Club, but with way more boners and whipping and stuff and humiliation. Totally a thing.
And you just wanted to bring this up?
It's because it's the Hellfire Club. There's like a porn Hellfire Club, man. Like, what do you mean? Because like, it's relevant as shit. Like, it's like super relevant. Like, I'm just saying that if because there's tons of weird sexual overtones to the Hellfire Club, And then it feels like some artist collective or artist porn collective in San Francisco or whatever decided to make it a real thing.
So as I like to do when we talk about the podcast, and I like to pretend not to be familiar with pornography, so I just Googled this for the first time, and I have to say the Pornhub page for this, normally Pornhub titles are just horrible and awful, but some of these are actually kind of funny. Mm-hmm. Like, one is just divorce counseling.
That's very funny.
That's a pretty decent name for a porn video game. Another one, One Last Hurrah, Part 1, which sounds like maybe it's just like the Ocean's 11 of, like, they're going to get the gang back together for one last hurrah up in the upper floor.
One last porn hurrah. Yeah, the new master gets a welcome, etc. But like you can see, it's kind of like Victorian-y. It's not quite like Hellfire Club, but you can see it's like this nice, everyone's dressed up. There's this weird. Can I tell you, this was not on this specific fetish thing, but my favorite porn title ever.
Yeah,
like just a little thumbnail title. I talked about this, and this is repetition for you because you've listened to Dead Idea Valhalla, but it was, and this is horrible. I'm not condemning or condoning this. It was black couple want baby badly. And then a little thumbnail of them having sex. I was like, what a weird angle to approach this from.
That's not a good angle. I can find another way to express that.
Well, it's so weird because it's like, it sounds kind of like, sad or something. Or it's just like, oh, they're trying to have a kid, but it just shows them like porning out. And I'm like, was this written by like an alien who doesn't understand, like knows a couple things about sex, but not everything about sex? And it's just like, oh, this is how humans procreate, and then he's shapeshifted into an intern, and he has to maintain his cover, so he's coming up with these little, these titles for these videos. I don't know. I always thought that was one of the weirdest expressions of sex. Like, yeah,
I always feel bad. Like, who do you, like? I know Pornhub is like a user-generated content, or at least it used to be, right? So like, it was ostensibly like some like extremely lonely guy that had found some clip on the internet he wanted to put on Pornhub to get a bunch of views for, like, I guess his e-penis or whatever, so he would name it the most ridiculous things possible. But now that it's become kind of commercialized almost, like where it's all of this stuff, like actual companies are doing this, like the names really just floor me on all of this stuff. Like, it's just the most ridiculous over the top stuff. Like, I don't know, man, like it's almost like I can just read them and laugh now instead of read them and get chubbies. Maybe that's just because I have an old broke dick, as it's been well established on this podcast.
The old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be. It's I think that I end up thinking they're funny too. I think it's just to stand out because there's literally terabytes and terabytes of free porn. That's right there. Like, oh, it's just like anything you want to see. It's ridiculous. Porn is crazy.
Porn is crazy. Yeah. But let's talk about the X-Men and when they're not being fetish.
Not the triple X-Men. I mean, there's going to be some weird, like this story is a metaphor, like essentially a metaphor for the female orgasm and female sexual empowerment. Like, it's going to come up. It makes sense if we're going to talk about this shit anywhere. It's here.
No, I'm into it. Believe me, I'm not kink shaming anybody. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
I'll put you on the lower floor, Jeremy.
No, not again.
See, then
the guacamole is much worse down there.
Wolverine falls down to the lower floor from the upper floor, and that's where all the weird shit happens. It's all sewer sex.
That's where Gambit stay, yo.
Yeah, he just falls down, and Gambit's like leaning against a chair. He's like, "Welcome, mon ami." Fanning cards between his hands. He's already there. Like, or what if in this episode when Gambit showed up, like one of the guys was like, "Hi, Gambit." He's like, "Not now, Gambit at work."
Do not call me that here.
I told you we don't know each other when we don't wear the mask.
There's no point in wearing a mask for Gambit. Aren't his eyes purple all the time? Like, they just stay like one solid color. That's true. We know who you are, Gambit. Who you're trying to pretend to be.
It's usually they know him wearing some kind of like Hotline Miami-esque animal mask.
I don't care if you're dressed up like the Hamburglar. I can tell it's you, Gambit.
I come to burgle. And it ain't gonna be no hamburger that Gambit get.
This is just crazy off topic, but I got a message the other day asking me if I had listened to a specific Abject Suffering because I got mentioned on it, and I was like, no, I haven't listened to that one. I'm like way behind on that podcast or whatever. They said, well, you should listen to it. And then you and Cole went into this extended description of this orgy thing with all of these mascots, and I am literally, Gary, I'm just dreading you bringing up my name in conjunction with this. Do you remember this episode? It was a recent one
about mascots with the Olympic mascots.
All the Olympic mascots having sex with like all of like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny and all that stuff. Yeah,
I do remember that. Can you remind me how we brought you up? Because I don't think you were in that picture.
No, I wasn't in the picture, and I was just worried that you were gonna like. I didn't know how I would be brought up, and it turns out like you were gonna send Cole something. And you're like, oh, I don't want to send this to Jeremy Greer. Like that was literally the only mention, but I was worried the entire 45 minutes of the episode. I was like, what did I do?
What it was I clicked on Cole on Slack to send him the message, and I accidentally clicked on you. And I which would have been very funny if I just said that to you out of nowhere. Okay, buddy, check this out. Get a load of this.
Like I'm holding my phone up to Autumn saying, I think Gary is hitting on me right now.
The weirdest possible fucking way. With is he the Olympic what's it?
Yeah, that sounded terrible. I did not go search it out, and I do not want to. So.
Yeah, please don't. Please, no one listening to this either. It's very bad. Like, listen to Abject Suffering and hear us talk about it, but it's not. It's extremely bad. Like, it is not a good image. No.
So, this episode of X-Men, now that we've talked about a lot of that stuff, is a little weird. Again, we've talked in the past about it being kind of out of order. Like, all these episodes are out of order. So, in this episode, like, Jean Grey has been found. Like, she's alive, and the Phoenix has taken over her body, and they're kind of, not analyzing her, but they're, checking her out at Muir Island. So Xavier and Moira and Banshee, ever the third wheel Banshee, are hanging out and basically just like asking Phoenix questions while she's chained up in some weird laboratory. Like, this looks like the sci-fi floor, which is right underneath the upper floor, which is right above the lower floor.
Above Gambit's rumpus room here. And so with the order we're watching them in, it makes sense that Phoenix is here because we alluded, to them being off in Muir Island trying to fix her own stuff. If you're watching these in the release order, this makes no fucking sense.
Nope.
They're not going to talk about her getting recaptured until next episode or 2 episodes from now. It's real dumb. As it is, like they're trying to figure out like what Phoenix is doing here, and they kind of come to this conclusion that Phoenix is there because like she's gaining control and she's like interested, like she's getting fascinated, etc. And like they're dealing with this. We cut over to Dazzler, this underground club where Dazzler is performing, and Cyclops and Gambit are there, and presumably Gambit has taken Cyclops out to like cheer him up.
No, this is just Gambit duty. Like we saw Jubilee the last time, had to take him to the movies, right? So somebody just has to be with Gambit.
To Gambit to his special, to the last club in town that will have him. And this is it's real weird. They're dressed really funny. I think Cyclops kind of looks like he's a little bit like at prom to me. Or at least in my memory. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of what he looks like. But in my mind, I just have him as he's in prom.
Yeah, he's a little bit like his suit is just a hair too like nice to be in the club, right? Like he just looks like he looks like a. I'm trying to have a hard time.
He looks like a 70s professor. He looks like an extra in Annie Hall.
So sure, okay, yeah, there you go. Like it's a little too, maybe not nice is the word. Maybe it's like a little too academic for the club.
Yes.
Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Like he looks completely professional and fine. Gambit though,
Gambit's wearing some clothes. So it's like a jacket, but it's like this weird cream yellow shirt that's open to like too many buttons, and this like scarf around his neck.
I would argue that there's no buttons above where that's buttoned. Yeah, I don't even think there's an option for it.
He's got a ponytail here, which I don't know if that's been established. Like, it has when he played basketball.
Yeah, we've kind of seen him. We've seen him have like because either his hair is sticking straight up or it's like wavy in the back.
Yeah, yeah. I pulled up a picture of this to look at their outfits. Have you figured out what they're drinking?
No, not at all.
Oh man, Jeremy. Like you got to look at this stuff. Like it looks like it's like candles. Like it looks like I think they're supposed to be candles, but it looks like they have 2 glasses of candles to drink in front of them.
Oh, good.
And the candles are like the color of like custard. It's like bad custard. Like, just silent all up to the bar to have some nasty custard. It's so Gambit Duty. They're at this Dazzler thing. Watching Dazzler perform, play this like super great song. Cyclops goes out in the alley because he's kind of got it for Dazzler. He gets kind of a crush on her just watching her. Because Dazzler's pretty hot. Can we like establish as like a comic book character like Dazzler's pretty cool and pretty hot?
She's extremely hot. She's extremely cool. Guys are really into chicks that sing.
Yeah,
like, that's just that's a known fact. Like I think every dude that I've ever known has fallen in love with like a Tori Amos or a Sarah McLachlan or whatever. Like dudes are into chicks that sing. And yeah, Cyclops having all those feelings, like all of those repressed feelings and all this weird shit with Jean is just instantly smitten with Dazzler. Like not even like just like the scene I'm looking at, he literally has like his head rested on the heel of his palm and it's just like,
oh, Dazzler. He's gotten over Jean real quick, and I'm glad that they found a way to incorporate that into the show because that's such a comic thing for Cyclops. Mm-hmm. Is how quickly he moves on. She's gone. It's over. And then just like, I need to find someone who looks exactly like her. And I
was about to say, the only thing unusual about this is that Dazzler is a blonde.
Like, she's not in the show, though. She's not in the show. Like, is her show red or is her hair red or brown in the show? I cannot tell because of my colorblindness. But like, they make her like a brunette. They make her look more.
Oh, I definitely thought it was blonde. Maybe it was my.
Oh no. Yeah, it's definitely not blonde in the cartoon.
It's definitely not. Holy shit! Yeah, it's definitely, it matches Cyclops and Gambit's hair. So yeah. I guess they're just going for brown.
Yeah, it's just so he's downgrading from red, but like it's they made her not blonde. But he's kind of puppy eyes at her. He goes out in the alley where she's getting attacked. And he kind of fights off the people who are attacking him, which is this Pierce guy, who like this is the villain of Logan. So that's a weird appearance. Who pulls an engine block out of this car, which is like just kind of like awesome to throw at him. He shoots it. They fight him off. That's Dazzler's car. Which is like that sucks.
Yeah,
and we're introduced to Dazzler's awesome low voice in this. Like, did you notice that?
Who was he? Some big shot who won't take no for an answer. I hope you'll be here tomorrow night, in case they come back.
Well,
Looks like my car's seen better days.
I would like to talk to you about your mutant powers.
Tomorrow night, then. It's a date.
Did you look up the voice actress for this? I can't find anybody that actually voiced Dazzler because I was curious who it was because it was so not what I was expecting out of this cartoon. Like, I don't remember seeing this as a young kid, by the way. So like, this may be if I saw this, I have blocked all these memories out of my head. So this might have been the first and second time that I watched this when I watched them twice through. Like, Dazzler's voice is like way down here. Like she's talking like this.
She's
like it's kind of husky,
dude.
And great.
Yeah, it's good. Like it's like a Scarlett Johansson thing. So she's like, hey, I can't drive home now and stuff, and they just kind of do this flirting, and it's pretty intense flirting. And eventually it's like, Cyclops, come see me again. And he's like, maybe I will, but he definitely will because his trousers are creased. We switch over to Wolverine. We should say that during the first 2 episodes of this are the best, like maybe the best Wolverine content in this show. Wolverine is nonstop, and if you remember from the last couple episodes with the museum and the like staring at skeletons, like Wolverine is on such a fucking hot streak in this cartoon.
He's
everything
so good.
He does is good.
Don't forget like the little roll around session with the Jungle Cat in the Savage Land where he was just kind of cracking that jaw back and forth. Like Wolverine has just been we've had some great Wolverine lately.
Oh, he is doing very good, and he does such good work on all levels in these 2 episodes where it's like he's funny and ridiculous, but also real badass and good. Like this is peak Wolverine. We're in this season 3 is Wolverine season of this show, man. Because he's like pulls out this gigantic salami out of the fridge, and does he say?
No, wait, no. He opens the fridge and then he says,
"Where's that blasted salami? I can smell it. All it needs is slicing."
Where's that salami? I can smell it. And then he grabs the salami and he's like, now, like, does he says something like, now to slice? It only needs to be sliced. Like he's narrating for somebody. Pops claws and then slices the salami over a sandwich.
So much for that. So much for those claws popping, hurting every single time, huh?
It's
I guess he's just
worth it.
gonna put up with it.
Sandwiches are good. So while I love whenever the X-Men are in the kitchen. Like it is so good. So he comes in, Cyclops comes in looking like, oh, you guy had a day, and starts immediately going on about how like he's gonna start talking about Dazzler. Like immediately he's gonna be like, man, I met this girl tonight. You know, Logan.
You won't believe.
You won't believe. And then Wolverine, just like, hold that thought. And Wolverine's not shocked or anything when Jean Grey is in their kitchen, like in the full Phoenix outfit, just hanging out.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck's
wanders
going on,
in
guys?
with Professor Xavier. And we should mention that, like, the reason that Cyclops left the club to begin with is he felt like Jean calling him psychically, like she was in trouble. So that's the reason he left the club and like left Gambit to its own devices. And Moira has decided that the best possible cure for the Phoenix as Jean is to literally just send her back to New York and out of Scotland or Ireland or whatever, so she doesn't have to deal with it. Hey, Moira, as somebody like Moira literally just got married to Banshee, like props, like get your ex and his weird ass students out of your facility.
Like we have not consummated yet. I need to have sex with Banshee. I need to have sex with Banshee.
He definitely makes the noise when he comes, right?
Oh yeah, it's the worst. Like you have to wear like those big not just regular earplugs, but those construction worker earplugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like those things. Yeah, it's pretty intense. But so they brought it back, and I'm glad you brought that bond because that ends up being very important to these episodes. Yeah, is Scott and Jean's love, which like that was a big theme of the end of of the original Phoenix Saga. I think it's much better portrayed here. Over the course of these 4 episodes. But it's so amazing that Phoenix comes back right as Scott was just about to be like, I think I'm gonna be boyfriends with Dazzler now. You know, like he was immediately going to just like talk about this new hookup.
I love that Cyclops has no ability to remember a girlfriend that's not in the same room with him.
He's like a fish.
He's like the memento of boyfriends. He's just writing Jean's name all over the back of his hand, right?
If he ever has a baby and he does that like peekaboo game, he's gonna forget that he had kids like every single time. You know, like just it's like, Nathan's gone. Stop mourning for him. He's never coming back, Jean. He's right. Open your goddamn. He's right there. I can't tell when your eyes are closed. Like
literally right there.
So we switch over to at this point they like Jean and Scott talk a little bit at this point, but Scott talks to Xavier. This is when Xavier reveals kind of what's going on, and Scott immediately is just like, no, Jean's dead to me. Like she's taken over by an evil force, right? Like that happens soon, and it's ridiculous.
And he's just yelling in general. Like Xavier's like, yeah, we're gonna try to get her up to speed, and
it's a waste of time.
Like, no,
Dazzler's the new Jean. New Jean. Like, it is. It's not good husbanding. Like it is.
Well, I mean, he's not a husband. He still ain't put a ring on it.
Yeah,
so.
It's bad boyfriending.
We're a season and a half away from their last wedding, which he could have married her at any point in between. So
yeah. Other than when she was in a coma, because that would have been marry somebody in a coma.
It's the X-Men. You can just make a psychic link and then get her approval, and then you're done.
That's 100% true. Like marriages happen inside a coma in this episode, more or less.
In the way that I described, just without Xavier, I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
This is where we switch back to the Hellfire Club, and we get some kind of basically like Leland and I think I have Leland, but I think it's actually
Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian, yeah. I got some of these guys' names mixed up as I was
there's 5 members of the Hellfire Club we're concerned with. We got Sebastian Shaw, who's the leader. He's got brown hair, kind of balding, and he transfers energy into strength. He gets stronger when you do energy to him. Yeah, Pierce, we talked about. He's a Reaver. He's got a cyborg arm. Got Emma Frost, who's the White Queen. Walks around in lingerie all day. Character turn, redeeming run in Grant Morrison's New X-Men. Super cool. You got Leland, who's a fat guy, who controls density in the comics, and it sounds like he does that in the show as well, but of other things rather than himself, and kind of shoots beams. And then we got Jason Wingard, aka the Illusionist, one of the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, who controls people's minds through making them see things.
is he not Mastermind?
He is Mastermind.
Okay. Because again, I wrote Mastermind like a million times in this document, so I was going to have to do a quick find and replace.
No, I called him the Illusionist, but that's incorrect. Yeah, he's Mastermind, one of the earliest like X-Men villains, and he came back in a big way for this because Chris Claremont, a weird like at some point in his life, he got obsessed with the idea of mind control, and then like during his shitty comeback in the 2000s, like all his comics were like bad mind control villains. It's like the only plot he knows how to do. Which is a bummer.
I guess I need to go back and read some of that stuff. I haven't touched like that early 2000 era of X-Men at any point in time. So maybe I should take a dip one day and see what kind of filth is in there.
Well, that's where New X-Men is from, and there's some like good.
Oh, I just meant the Claremont stuff specifically.
Oh yeah, like Extreme X-Men is his comic from that, and it's very bad. And he does a run of Uncanny, but then like that's also when Chuck Austin was doing Uncanny, which is very bad. And it eventually gets kind of interesting again because Peter Milligan, the Ecstatics guy, takes over X-Men. And it's not great, but it's okay. Yeah. And then Ed Brubaker takes over Uncanny X-Men, and then we're kind of out of that. And we switch into kind of other stories. But there's a real dark period there. Yeah.
So Sebastian and I believe it's Sebastian and Pierce are having this fight about basically like who... I don't know, like how are we going to get more power or whatever. When the White Queen walks in and is just like, oh yeah, I know this chick Jean Grey. She has the Phoenix, and then just like we get what I thought was just going to be like a flashback, but it's like half flashback of stuff we've already known, and then exactly what happened to Jean after like after the Phoenix took the Imcron crystal but into the sun, which I don't think we've known yet. Like they haven't shown us any of that stuff unless it's on like some weird previous episode that we're going to see in the future.
Yeah, it's the penultimate episode of episode 5. This is all new. This is all like stuff that is applied in the margins. One of the weirdest things is that Jean Grey is a consolation prize. They were trying to get Dazzler, so that's a weird this character will give us intense power in the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, she's a great disco singer and she makes lights. We need her for the Hellfire.
She shoots lasers. She turns sounds into lasers, which is a cool power. But I don't know if they just need someone to play music in the lobby or something.
We didn't talk about this, but Dazzler's power, by the way, was actually kind of cool when they showed off when she's singing. Like she's got like basically like the homing crystal soul mask thing above her head, where she just makes power, which is really fun. But yeah, so Phoenix. The last time we saw Phoenix, Phoenix like grabbed the Imcron crystal, took all the love from her friends, and then flew into the sun so that she could save the world, save the universe from the rock god guy.
Yeah.
So that was the last, and basically like she's dead. So we have not seen her since. And then what Emma Frost tells us is that she flew out of the sun and then flew back to Earth and then just like landed on a rock where Professor Xavier finds her and like takes her home. So that's what's been happening.
No wonder that didn't get an episode. And the reason why Emma knows all this is because Xavier's been so stressed out that Emma can hack into his computer.
Yeah, so. Because of all of this crazy shit that the X-Men have been going through. Like, he's been distracted with his bird girlfriend and with the Phoenix and with going to space and all this stuff.
Yeah. Ex-girlfriend. Yeah. So we go back to the mansion, and Cyclops is like, man, I know that my one true love just came back to life. However, that girl was really cute. Like, I think I'm into kind of butch short haircuts now. Gene never sings. Like, I gotta go. I gotta go flirt.
He's got a real mutant pixie dream girl situation happening.
In all fairness, right? Like me, like you put me in the same situation, Dazzler over Phoenix 100 times out of 100, right? Like, as far as like X-Men characters that like if I were in that universe, who I like, Dazzler's real up there. Like,
oh yeah,
that makes sense.
She seems like one of the coolest chicks. Like Jean Grey basically has no personality. How would you even talk to Storm? Like, where do you even begin with Storm?
Pretty nice day out, isn't it? It is as calm. Okay, I'm out of here.
I gotta go.
I gotta go. As calm as that. No, it's okay. I can. Whatever you're gonna end that sentence, I don't care how calm it is. Like, I just.
I'm out. And then there's Jubilee, which is underage, so that's
that's no good. And then Rogue, which is like Rogue's pretty cool, but you can't touch Rogue.
Can't touch Rogue.
Yeah, and like holding hands and doing kisses and stuff. That's something that you want to do in a relationship. And like, that'd be a tough thing for Rogue. So out of the the X-Men people we've seen so far, it definitely seems like Dazzler is the one, and she's cool 80s musician. Good fashion game. Like at least in the 80s, like 70s disco Dazzler, I'm less into than 80s, kind of punk Dazzler or like new wave Dazzler. But Dazzler's up there. Dazzler's very cool, and she ends up marrying Longshot, which is my favorite X-Men, and just like such a good couple. Or I don't know if they marry. I don't think that actually happens, but they end up together.
I mean, I'm sure they do it in some alternate universe somewhere.
Yeah, in the alternate universe of my mind.
There's probably a splinter universe where just literally everybody is married, right? To different people.
Group marriage. Ex-wives to me, ex-husbands.
So Cyclops tells Jean, like, hey, I have to go protect this woman I just met yesterday at her concert.
Yeah.
She's a mutant. And then Phoenix as Jean. And there's going to be a lot of this thing where, like, Jean is flipping back and forth from Phoenix to Jean's personality. Phoenix being, like, this cosmic entity that just gets real pissed and is like, well, I will go destroy her. Mm-hmm. And Jean's like, I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't be jealous. I'm sorry. My bad. But honestly, in this case, Phoenix kind of has it right. Phoenix, don't go. I'm in a hospital bed. You don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe don't go pretend to be a bodyguard for this chick that you don't know.
Yeah, this is the worst. This is Scott being the worst. Yeah. So he heads back. The Hellfire Club has a plan. The idea is to sneak into her mind with using Mastermind and present her with an alternate reality. Where she's in the past, Mastermind has rescued her, will seduce her, and that all of the things in modern New York and stuff are actually a dream. Which is kind of cool. And they go back to this like pirate ship and all this, weird stuff with Mastermind. He's very dashing, this. I remember when the first time you saw me, you said I was beautiful. This like very like forget about Scott. The we're pirate. You're my pirate bride now. Let's go. And this is
not very fleshed out in the show. Like we get like kind of glimpses of this pirate like themed like ancient old timey life, but in the comic books like they go way more into it, and it makes a little bit more sense for Jean to be confused. But right now we're just going to take it as Riz wrote that like Jean's already having personality disorders with this Phoenix cosmic force inhabiting her body. So like when presented with this alternate like reality, she's just kind of adapting to that as well. It's like fuck it, okay, let's go. I guess this is real now too. I don't know, maybe so. Yeah. Great, let's get into it. And they're also going to
just because literally like out of the cartoon, like the cartoon has to move a little bit quicker.
Yeah. I mean, they've already given you 4 episodes. You want to make it to a 7-episode arc. We get to see more of Dazzler singing. I don't know if we specifically called it out, but like Dazzler's music is really, really good. Like and her singing is actually really good. I don't know if it's the same voice actress. I went to look it up. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. So if anybody out there knows, let us know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So she leaves the club. Or no, how does this happen? No, Jean Grey as Phoenix kind of wakes up after her...
Well, she immediately gets off stage, kisses Cyclops.
Yes, Dazzler does.
And that causes the psychic link to wake up Jean Grey. Jean Grey shows up at the club with Mastermind at this point. And Mastermind, and she's all betrayed, and Scott's like, oh, Jean. And then Mastermind kisses Jean. And then Scott's like, that hussy. And it's like, hold up.
I cannot believe you would cheat on me.
Yeah, hold up. But I think it's roughly that's the chronology. Like kisses are going round and fucking round, dude. Like if you like X-Men kisses, XXX.
We've got a real rom-com situation right now.
The XOXO men. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I put a note in here about Wolverine saying something with his nose. I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. So
he says they're tracing them. So Jean leaves. Scott rallies the rest of the X-Men and says like we have to get her. They find the Hellfire Club, and someone's like, "Are you sure this is the right place?" And Wolverine says like,
"The nose knows, tough guy."
That's what it is. That's oh my god, Wolverine's lines in this. Do you think
Toucan Sam? Like,
are they setting us up like a long con here, and that Wolverine is actually Morph and has been Morph in the last like 4 or 5 episodes?
That'd be an amazing twist.
Because this,
Wolverine just tied up in a basement, like, subsisting on his own arm, like.
Because these lines are all like all Morph lines. Like he's the one that's making copies and all that stuff.
Well, that's why Morph is the only one who can make him laugh. Like they have the same sense of humor. It just doesn't seem like it at first. Like that seemed ridiculous. However, these episodes are showing us that is. Wolverine's sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. So they arrive at the Hellfire Club, and then they say like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna like I think everybody wants to rush in, and Cyclops is like, wait, let's recon the place a little bit. Rogue, go up and try to find out what's going on. She goes up and through the skylight sees that they're literally marrying comatose Jean Grey, more or less.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna marry her and like seal her power or something. So she just like dives into the thing to start breaking it up, and that's what kicks off this huge fight. And I feel like this fight isn't as good as our X Factor fight that we had a couple of episodes ago. But I think it's not as well animated, but I think that the power display is a lot of fun. Like they make sure to like kind of go around the room and team or pair people up in these fights so you get to see their powers and stuff. And I think this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I mean, and the Hellfire Club are very like, one of the things about the comics is that the Hellfire Club very rarely like actually fight, but they're very like competent at it, and their power set is really, really well matched to the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue keeps punching Sebastian Shaw, and that doesn't do anything. There's the Pierce is there, so Wolverine can cut somebody's arm off.
Gotta love it. Gambit is there, so he can be thrown into Beast.
yeah, Gambit gets thrown into Beast, but Gambit can't. Nobody's being very effective here because they're really, and they're like, okay, well, Storm has the idea. She's like, if we can't take out Sebastian Shaw, we have to immobilize him. She makes it really cold, but then she gets zapped by Jean Grey. Because Jean Grey has now joined the Hellfire Club, the Black Queen. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. To be continued. And Jean Grey is this where she reveals the outfit, or does that happen next episode? I feel like
that's next episode.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this one she's still in the Phoenix outfit.
And she's in full like crazy mode. Like she fully believes that the X-Men are coming to hurt her for some reason. So she like knocks out Storm, and then we go straight to be continued. Which I forgot to pull the air dates on these. I need to go see. Like I don't remember if they aired these back to back like they did the Phoenix Sagas.
Yeah, I don't know either. The important part is Wolverine gets his density increased or whatever, and falls into the sewers. So that's gonna be important for the next episode.
This is actually a pretty good animation. Like they do the cutaway view, and you literally see him falling through all the floors. Like that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. And this is like pretty accurate so far to what happens in the comics. Like this might be one of the most like accurate representations that we've had so far. Like this is more or less what happens in the Phoenix Saga or Dark Phoenix Saga.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is pretty much it. Besides, some name changes here and there and some power stuff. Like almost it to a T, really. Like I think it's actually a really faithful adaptation, better than the actual Phoenix Saga was. So
yeah, it's significantly more accurate than that for sure. Yeah. So let's scoot through to the second episode, and skip our spotlight as we do during our long crossovers to keep momentum. But we will be back with a spotlight during the episodes after this. Does that sound good?
Works for me.
Yeah. So let's move into the Dark Phoenix Saga Part 2, The Inner Circle. As Professor X and Emma Frost battle for psychic control of Jean, the Inner Circle members quarrel over how to dispose of their prisoners, the X-Men. But it isn't long before the Phoenix realizes that it has been duped by the Inner Circle and vows to unleash fury upon the world. More or less. Like, there's more fighting than that. But I guess there's 3 episodes of fights. Like, really.
Yeah, this I don't even have a lot of notes here because there's a lot of fighting. Like it's just a lot of like characters just like punching each other in the face or using their I-beams or whatever. And some of it is kind of interesting and cool, but a lot of it is just like it's just a straight up fight, which is fun. Like it's fun to watch. I think this is one of the more like, for better or for worse, anytime the X-Men stop talking and they just do stuff, it's usually a lot better than when it is and they just start talking. So I'm down with this episode, but like there's not a whole lot to like get into with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's good stuff. There's individual little things we can talk about. So specifically, we start out. Xavier is tracking Scott, but keeps getting shut down by Emma. Like she's trying to get through there, but Emma can actually use her psychic powers because Emma Frost is like a huge, like really really great telepath. Like she's not Charles Xavier level, but she's good enough to run interference. And she says like, "Hey, I can keep him out, but I'm not sure for how long. What are we gonna do?" And I love this kind of like. The Hellfire Club aren't just going to straight up summarily execute the X-Men, So they're kind of this like logistical problem. Like, what do we do?
Can we step back just a quick second and talk about that weird 3D thing that is the animation where Xavier's trying to break in and like going through the hallways
shit.
and shit.
Yeah, and the voice that, like, because this is when he starts like talking to Cerebro, and we didn't like, Cerebro, please boost my power. I can do that, Charles. Like, it's like wait. I forgot about that.
And then Emma Frost to do this stuff is like leaning against like this obvious like computer panel thing and like putting her psychic energy in it. Like you see like the beam of her head go into this machine, and then Xavier just straight up asks Cerebro and says like, "What's stopping me?" And is like, "There's a mutant with a machine blocking you." And I'm like, "What? How do you know that, Cerebro?"
Yeah. When did Cerebro get this kind of like personality and stuff? Like, this is the first time I think Cerebro has talked.
What? How much money are you willing to put down on Beast smuggling down that AI he had a crush on? It's Cerebro, so he could go in there and have weird danger room sex with his girlfriend.
He has to mask it with give it Charles's voice.
Oh God, that's a setting that you don't want flipping on right in the middle, huh?
Because I'm pretty sure that when it talks back, it's Charles. It's the same voice actor as Charles Xavier, kind of doing a version of his own voice for Cerebro.
Yeah, it's like a roboted out kind of like, and very flat, like very little inflection
like
in his voice.
And Dishonored too. But yeah, it's pretty bonkers. Like that this became this voice controlled thing, as opposed to just a helmet that lets him fight mutants, which is like the original purpose. Like in the cartoon, Cerebro does anything you need it to do. Anything you need it to do. So,
anything that you needed it to do.
Yeah, anything Beast needs it to do.
Anything.
Yeah. So they have them here. They're like, no, we're not sure what to do with this. This is where we get the reveal of Jean and her like BDSM gear, because again, the Dark Phoenix is about sexual liberation. Like,
I remember reading this and thinking like, man, the White Queen must be so jealous that Jean's just straight up like biting her style. Like if you're the White Queen and your whole gimmick is to wear like this long cape and basically a teddy everywhere you go, and that's your uniform, and then you see someone do it except, in black, like fuck you, Jean Grey. Like, get your own designer.
Well, and she has the same like power set. She's like, I mean, she's a psychic. She's also a telekinetic, which like Emma Frost is not. She kind of obviates Emma Frost in every way. And to the show's credit, like they deal with that, like the jealousy angle from Jelly Frost.
Jelly Frost.
Jelly Frost. Yeah, more like Jelly Frost. Jelly Frost becomes a plot point in this, like the fact that she's so jealous of Jean. It's more romantic, but it still kind of comes up.
Yeah.
So she's got her BDSM gear. Wolverine is in the sewers, so he's the one X-Men who's not accounted for. And this is very, very similar to a very famous episode of the X-Men, or issue of the X-Men comic, wherever this pretty much happens. Wolverine's left alone in the sewers and spends a whole issue just fucking killing Hellfire Club guys to get back up to the top. And it's a really great issue. It's one of the all-time great like 80s X-Men issues.
Yeah,
like,
and they do the cover perfectly. Like they recreate the cover just like with him kind of having his claws out and kind of like ready for battle in the sewer, like water draining off of his face. Like they do it. Like you see that and you're like, oh shit, I know exactly what that is. And like props to them for like spending the time that it probably took to do that and just to make that little homage. So
yeah, and they don't, it's not as long because that's a whole issue in the the way I at least the way I remember it. At the very least, it's lengthy. But yeah, it's still they show a couple of different scenes of him taking out Hellfire Club goons.
Well, hold on, because I don't remember from the comic books, and maybe I'm wrong. Did Wolverine in the comic books give a whole Dirty Harry speech?
He gives a speech that's very similar to that, but he adds the "Do you feel lucky" thing in the cartoon. In the comic, though, it's very similar. It's like, you're probably like, it does a whole like you're probably thinking thing. This whole thing where he literally says, "Do you feel lucky?" Like I was saying it out loud alongside him as I was watching it. I was like, why is he doing this whole Dirty Harry thing? This is so weird. Yeah, it's a very, I think it's just meant to be like, I don't know why they would add that rather than just use the original dialogue. Maybe just because kids would dig it because kids love Dirty Harry in the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
sure.
I love that 1971 classic. Like, it's just
and AT&T commercials.
I do not know why they added that, but it is like a pretty badass line. Yeah, it is just like he's intimidating them super, super great. There's a little bit with him later here that is like a literal miracle. So, and he keeps also talking about finding that fat, what is it? What's the word he says? Like the fat guy who sent me.
Yeah.
Sent me, and he
He's
says the
real
same
mad at
phrasing
this
every
dude.
time. He's real focused on Leland being fat. Like, who's that lard who keeps sending me into the sewers? Yeah.
So he's making his way up, and I just want to talk about the one section that I think that you're talking about where he springs out of the dumbwaiter.
Yes.
Because like there's this kitchen scene, and like everyone's, and like there's the guy who's like, they're supposed to be sending up this food, and he's trying to pull it up, and then Wolverine just springs out
of a dumbwaiter.
Out of a dumbwaiter, which is
I didn't
delightful.
order Wolverine. And then just like, yeah, you can order food and get Wolverine instead. It's so
worst
tickles
fucking
me
restaurant.
So, yeah, just like, I ordered a tuna sandwich, not adamantium rage. The
worst restaurant, best Yelp review.
Yeah.
Warning: food may contain Wolverine. But yeah, he walks over to this basically like a cooked turkey, like a stereotypical like Thanksgiving turkey, and then pops claws, cuts a leg out of it, and it says something like
Turkey.
or something.
Yep, that's pretty much it. And then start eating this turkey on his way up to get vengeance. Because, like, you know, you always, whenever you look at like this action thing, it's like, where do these characters go to the bathroom? When do they eat? You know, but Wolverine has that shit covered, man. Like, he went to the bathroom when he was up to his waist in shit water, and he eats whenever he wants. Whenever he sees turkey, he eats turkey.
This is the second meal we've seen him have.
Yeah, he's the only. Why is he the only X-Men that eats? Like, it's just, but that turkey thing is so good, and him just taking a break in the middle of this to like eat a little bit of the Hellfire Club's food, I think is a real miracle. Like,
it's
I really love
great.
it.
Yeah, just popping off, and just like a turkey leg, just like cutting. He didn't even rip it off. He cut it off with his knife, which like. Now you have like weird turkey meat going up into your veins, dog, because that stuff goes back inside your body. I don't see you're not wiping that stuff off.
His healing factor is probably at least like 30% dedicated to like ejecting food from his claw orifice, you know?
Oh God! So do you think like when he sleeps, like he just wakes up and there's just like ejected food all over the sheets from his hands?
Yeah, because their body's not going to like integrate that shit. It's just going to slowly come out of his claws. There's just like two dark stains in the same spot on his bed. Like,
oh God!
Right around his hand. It's mostly ketchup.
Jubilee comes in and is like, "I told you to use the bucket.
Yeah.
Why do you keep not using the bucket?"
Yeah, because she has to do his sheets because Jubilee, strangely absent during these episodes, is also the X-Men slave, as we've established.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, she's in school.
God forbid.
Yeah, like she doesn't go to school. It's probably like the X-Men had to have their basement, like clean their basement. Like, you know, like Jubilee, it's your job to like detail all these cars, you know, and she's in the basement, like slowly, you know, with headphones, like detailing all the cars that Xavier's going to use as paychecks.
One of these cars will be yours, Jubilee.
Yes, someday you'll earn you'll heal us enough in the infirmary enough to earn a car. In the random world of X-Men. So yeah, this little bit with Wolverine is great as he gets back into the fight. While this is happening, there's these kind of cracks appearing in the Hellfire Club because Sebastian and Mastermind and Emma are all kind of fighting about, you know, what to do about Jean. Like, you know, is this who should have the power? Is this, you know, because Sebastian is the leader of the Hellfire Club, but Mastermind's like, yeah, but I control our superpowered, you know, cosmic entity now.
Yeah, and he wants to use this as kind of to usurp control. But before all of that, like as they're arguing about this stuff, and the argument seems to be centered around to like whether or not Mastermind can actually maintain this amount of control over Jean. Scott, who like all of the X-Men, by the way, are like have weird like hand things. I don't know what they're not handcuffs. They're like weird gloves that tie their hands together.
Yeah.
And they've got something that looks like those mutant suppressor collars that we've seen all the way back in season 1. But like, so Scott tries to use his psychic bond with Jean, and so now we get this really great and fun and exciting moment where Scott appears in Jean's mind and has to duel Mastermind, and Mastermind is just the dirtiest cheater in the world, and I love it. I love all of this.
you're in like literal my mindscape, and I control everything you see. So like, how can this be a fair duel?
Yeah, he makes him like walk up, like as they're like dueling with swords, like old time. Like he puts Cyclops in like pedestrian clothes too, which I think is like a poor boy clothing, including like the little cap, which is just adorable. But he makes Cyclops like walk backwards up some stairs, and then he just turns the stairs into a slide, and so Cyclops slides down them. It's just a bunch of shit like that. Like he like slashes an X in his chest as the first blood, and it's just so weird and fun. Like it's something that Xavier really doesn't do when he's on the psychic plane. Like Xavier just, and we'll see this later on, or maybe in the next
Xavier's
episode.
Psychic armor again, that's always a good, a good time. This is really great, and just like Jason Wingard being slime, super slime.
But they eventually win. Jean shows up and is like, no, you don't understand. Jason, aka Mastermind, has freed me like from all of my. So now I am who I am meant to be. And then they both like together stab Cyclops, which makes him like kind of fall over dead in the psychic plane. And then we pull out to the real world, and then he falls over, presumably dead there. But very quickly, like the Hellfire Club have a conversation. It's like, why isn't he dead? He should definitely be dead. And again, psychic connection to Jean saves the day.
Well, they say some real cold shit. They're just like, I don't know somebody who can live without their mind or something like that, right? Like there's some line that's like a little bit like,
without the mind, the body should die, or something like that. Mm-hmm.
Some real cold shit. And then, but it turns out his link to Jean is keeping him alive. So the whole like the moral of all of this is that Cyclops should be better to Jean in general. Like not only is she saving his life many times over, and ostensibly is the woman that he loves, but like, maybe like you need to talk to her about polyamory or something like that. If you need like a Dazzler side piece, like somebody needs to tell you that she's saving your life right now. And I'm sure because of this show being what it is, there's no fallout from these episodes. Like, spoiler for next episode, this crossover ends very suddenly. Like everything's good, and then there's no like falling action, like kind of epilogue or anything. It's just kind of business as usual with the X-Men, and then the episode after that, I think we fight the Juggernaut. So it's like it's all there's no time for the X-Men to just be like, man, that was fucking weird.
Yeah, I kind of would like some downtime after these 4 episodes of just like one episode where they're just sitting around the kitchen and like, or maybe like having a barbecue and just talking about their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that happened in the comics all the time. Like they play baseball. They would have these like kind of down like relation, like go to the bar. Happen all the time. So the circle is like, hey, Mastermind, you control Jean, make Jean kill Scott. Like that's the ultimate test. If you control her that well, you can make it. And he kind of doesn't want to do it because he doesn't know he can. And then Wolverine shows up because they forgot about Wolverine, which is real great.
Motherfuckers forgot about Logan.
Right, motherfuckers forgot about it. But he immediately gets kind of zapped at this point. And Mastermind says like, hey, I'm the only person who can save us from this. I've got Jean. Who wants me to be the leader? And they do this like weird vote thing with their thumbs.
Yeah, they like, and like this apparently this weird authoritarian inner circle club, like, they're just a democracy. Like, I wish.
Yeah.
Like, I wish. Like, in the real world, like, it'd be just Sebastian being like, fuck all you guys. I'm the one with all the power and the money. Like, you're in my house. Like, this is my Hellfire Club.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, this was pretty weird when they all vote to basically start following Mastermind.
Mastermind. Jason Wingard.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
I do like that. Like they're going to try to force Jean to kill Wolverine, who has interrupted this, and she can't because she literally just remembers all of the times that he flirted inappropriately with her. Like,
well, she has that love connection with him as well. Again, when I was like saying that, like the it being about their connection, like that being what the first Phoenix Saga was about. This one's much better. It's much more direct. Oh, my cat just clawed me like kind of good. Royce, what are you fucking doing? Like, stop it. Silently just reached up and just went, Mah.
I heard him talking in the background. I was like, damn, what's up with Roars?
Stop it, bud. Well, he's I haven't fed him today, but he still has food, and I don't know how to like express that to him. Like, you don't get this food until you finish that food. Because
cats do not understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're voting because he has control. Or they want Mastermind. Mastermind says, "I have Jean. I should be in control." Jean can't kill Wolverine because Jean kind of loves Wolverine, which is all makes sense. So
and then
instead,
she leaves. Like she goes to space. She just leaves.
I can't handle this, which frees the X-Men. And now there's another big fight with him.
And we get some really fun stuff here. I like that Beast. His idea to get around Sebastian's ability to absorb kinetic energy is to give him like indirect energy, which is basically spinning him around with his feet.
Yeah,
it's really funny. I put a gif of it in the Slack channel yesterday because I thought it was so goddamn hilarious. Like it's really, really funny. It's
very similar to like what you would do. What Stormon do is like you can't actually take him out. You just have to occupy him.
Wolverine finally gets his revenge on the tub of lard. He jumps at him, and then the Leland tries to like weigh him down, but he's moving forward, so his forward motion carries, and then he crashes into him, and then they go through like 8 or 9 floors or something. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Super, super cool. And the fight goes on for a while. Just goes on for a while. Like there's not talking about any other specific things, but it just happens for quite a bit. Mastermind, Cyclops leaves to go find Jean. Mastermind goes to go find Jean as well to reassert control. Runs into Jean on the roof, and she's like, "You guys stop fucking with me." Like I'm the Phoenix, motherfucker.
I am a cosmic force in this universe.
Billions of people I've killed. Like you are just a gross. So he strips away his illusion, because he's this whole Dapper Dan kind of thing is fake. He's actually kind of a homely dude.
Yeah, he's just like some average white dude in his mid-40s. Like that's what that dude is. So
yeah. And then that's it really. Like Scott shows up. Scott's like, Jean, and then she says like, no, I'm the Phoenix now. Essentially, I gotta go.
Yeah, and this I got ahead of myself. This is where she flies into space. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, right here. It basically ends right here, and it's implied that she kind of attacks Scott, but spoiler, she doesn't, of course. Like she's just like powering up and doing the Phoenix Flame thing around her. And then the episode ends, and we get another to be continued because this is a 4-part series.
Yeah.
These are fun. This, like, I think we mentioned it before, but like, there's a lot of fighting in these 2 episodes, and I don't find it particularly entertaining to point out like every single combination of fights that we see. Like, there's a lot of it, but like the more humorous stuff I think is interesting. But like, there's just not a lot to pick off the bone in this besides Wolverine just being fantastic throughout.
Yeah, Wolverine is really, really fun. The Hellfire Club is interesting. The kind of universe stuff here is really good, and the fights, even though they're not quite that X Factor fight, are still fun. Like they're still really fun fights. X-Men cartoon fights are always going to be good. Like I like watching X-Men do X-Men shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Period.
That's why we are X-Men fans.
Yeah, it's why I go see went and saw Apocalypse, because X-Men movies remain the number 1 place to see X-Men do X-Men shit.
That's extremely accurate, and sometimes just very unfortunate.
Yeah, but you gotta do it. Like that's how you can do it. So these episodes are really fun. The next 2 are also, to my mind, a better take on Shi'ar shit, because it's not about the Shi'ar.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like it's just the Shi'ar are just an inconvenience, an obstacle for the X-Men to get around. It's not about their like weird, shitty Game of Thrones politics.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Agreed.
So, so that's going to be in 2 weeks. Thank you guys very much for listening. Jeremy, what can they do if they like the show?
The best thing to do is to go to patreon.com/DuckFeed.tv, or you can go to Duckfeed.tv/Patreon. I found out the other day that both of them work. So.
Yep, that's because we keep mixing them up. They didn't used to. One of them's a real web address. One of them's a shitty cuck redirect. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I made the redirect as good as I could. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But this show and all of the shows on the Duckfeed Network are user supported, listener supported. And this show was made possible because people put their hard-earned dollars into it and wanted us to do it. Shows like Radio Free Midworld were possible. Shows like File Underwater were possible. So you guys have just redone your tiers on all your Patreon stuff, and there's a couple of new shows in the works. Do you want to talk about a couple of those that are coming up?
Yeah. Well, so most relevant to this show we have a stretch goal, and I can't remember exactly where we put it, but it's not, it's somewhere around like $2,000 more than we're at now, but it's not that much. But is a weekly Ask Gambit, an alternating rather Ask Gambit and Bewilder Beast video segments, short video segments that we have not talked about the logistics of.
In fact, I don't remember seeing this on the Patreon. Are you sure it's there?
Yeah, it wasn't in that thing. I sent Cole a thing. I was like, hey man, I forgot to put Ask Gambit there, and he's like, just slot it in wherever makes sense. So it's in there. It's after that announcement, and this is you can ask questions, and I am going to answer them with a little video in a Gambit costume as Gambit. And on alternate weeks, you can ask science questions, and Jeremy Greer doesn't have a costume. But we'll answer. We'll see. We'll see what Jeremy does. What you do, Jeremy.
We literally the first time that we've ever discussed this in person. So yeah, we'll figure something out.
we discussed it in text.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, I don't mean to, I don't mean to spring it on you, but it is like a new Patreon goal that like fans of this show would like.
It's definitely not on the Patreon goals. I'm sorry.
I'm looking at it's the Patreon goals aren't up yet. Like the restructure. You're looking at the post where we preview them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, the restructure happens in a couple days from when we're recording, July 1st.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
No. It's not in the preview post, and we talked about this, and you're editing this. If you decide that you don't want to do this, you can edit this out, and then
I am definitely not going to be editing any of this. I'm sorry. Okay. You've already told me I have to get a Beast costume together in a couple of weeks. What am I? Now I have to edit the show too. Jesus fucking Christ, Gary.
A couple of weeks. It will take a long time for us to get there.
Oh yeah.
But I really like the idea of people asking you science questions and you doing a tight 2 minutes on Beast speak.
Oh yeah. This is going to happen 100%.
Yeah. There's also some other shows that we have planned. Most immediate ones that will happen sooner than later are Heartbeat City, which we've talked about before. But then also some tabletop sessions, some celebratory D&D, or probably Powered by the Apocalypse campaigns we want to do. We have a show we want to do on Lovecraft adaptations, film adaptations, which we're tentatively calling Unfilmable, but I don't know if that's already taken, so I need to make sure. And that will be really fun. We have and then the highest one, because it will require the most work, is doing a TV club rewatch of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul as a show we both really, really love. And think that the dust has settled enough to where it's worth talking about again.
Agreed. Those are two of my favorite series. I'm not caught up with season 3 on Better Call Saul yet, but
me either.
Man, Better Call Saul I think might be better than Breaking Bad.
I keep seeing that opinion around, and it's got to be from season 3. Because I watched season 2, and season 2 I thought was really slow.
I liked it. I liked season 2 a lot, man. We don't have to get into it. Just let me guest on your podcast sometime.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you all about it.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. But I was just like, this is taking a while to move. It's a really slowly paced show, and you have to be kind of into that, which is not what Breaking Bad was. And not just
Breaking Bad had a lot more murder and boobs in it, and I know you like murder and boobs, so
very few boobs in Breaking Bad. You're getting this confused with Game of Thrones, like the very few boobs in Breaking Bad. But there was the action moved quicker, and Better Call Saul is very slow paced. I like it, very slow paced. But I've heard the third season is amazing, so I really want to watch the third season. And there's a bunch of other stuff as well that's kind of on there. You'll be able to see it at the time this episode drops.
Yes.
All this stuff goes public on July 1st. We'd love, we love your support. Really do appreciate it. And this keeps us being able to do as many shows as we do. I record most days a week. I work on podcast stuff one way or another every day of the week. This is my job, and and it's I couldn't do it without your support. So.
Yeah, that's, again, just that URL, patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, and you can go check out all of that stuff. But until next time, where can they find you on the internet if they want to talk to you if they want to send you Gambit questions?
You can say, there'll be an official channel for that, but you can softball me some Gambit questions that I will not answer in character on my Twitter, which is at GARYBUH, Gary Ba.
And I am at JG Greer, GREER, and come talk to me on Twitter about Gambit questions as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And we'll see you next time with the conclusion of the Dark Phoenix Saga.
Umbasa.
Umbasa. I just automatically say that when people say that now. Like that's where I'm at in my headspace. It's a ridiculous thing.
It's so nice. It lets you get on it. Like